I was feeling pretty good about myself when I moved to Los Angeles in 1986. After all, I had had a successful career promoting movies in New York City for 10 years, and I'd been out on the road working on movies for directors like Robert Redford and Peter Weir and Mike Nichols. So I thought, I've got some credits, and I showed up in LA, and I thought I'm going to be offered some good jobs. First call I got was on a movie called Hot to Trot, starring Bobcat Goldthwait and a talking horse, Don the talking horse. The next one was Back to the Beach, starring Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. So I thought, I'm in Hollywood now. In fact, I was offered 6 movies. Or maybe offered is not the right word, because in New York City, when people called me on something, I got the job. But in Los Angeles, what they were really calling about was a meeting. And of course, a meeting is not a job. A meeting means that other people are having meetings and somebody else might get the job, not you. And as I would learn over time, sometimes when you had a meeting, the production had already hired somebody else, and they were only taking the meeting to oblige the studio that had asked for it. And then in a lot of cases, the studio didn't really want you to get the job. Because let's be honest, I had just shown up into town, I was just off the boat, and they had people that they had been working with for a decade or more that they liked. And then if they can't get the people they want, they need to fill the position. And that may have had something to do with why I was being offered talking horse movies. So I got a call from Don Levy at Paramount. He was definitely somebody I felt really believed in me. And he called about a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to be directed by John Hughes. And that was really exciting to me because it starred Steve Martin and John Candy, who I loved, and Hughes was one of my favorite directors. So the thought of being on this was just so exciting. At the time I'm supposed to be there, I get to the Paramount lot. Now, on a lot of studio lots, you meet with people in trailers, but Paramount had buildings for its top people. Like there was a building for Bruckheimer Simpson. And John Hughes had a Hughes Entertainment building. I found it on the map, and I went up the stairs, and there he was. There was John Hughes. In addition, there was his producer, Michael Chinich, and a number of other people. The first thing that Hughes did was ask me about what I was wearing. Now, I was wearing this kind of military outfit that I had bought for the Mosquito Coast because I figured it was going to be hot down there. So I picked up some paratrooper pants from an Army-Navy store on Canal Street in New York. And I think he was interested in personal style. And personal style, what is it but the confidence to walk in something that's absolutely ridiculous and feel like that's okay. So we talked for quite a bit about my clothes. And I could see out of the corner of my eye that Michael Chinich was not really getting a big kick out of this. And I thought, well, what's the problem? Then he asked me if I had read the script. And I said that I had tried to, but I wasn't able to get the script. And he was like, oh, that's too bad. Well, listen. Steve Martin plays this harried advertising executive, and he's in New York, and he's trying to get home to see his family for the holidays in Chicago. The meeting he's in is going late, and he goes out in the street afterwards, and he's trying to get a cab, and somebody steals the cab, and he's like, let me pay you and give me this cab. And while he's paying the person, another person takes the cab. So eventually he gets to the airport and his flight is delayed and a guy comes over to him, John Candy, and starts talking to him. He doesn't really want to talk to this guy, and the guy is the person who stole his cab. So I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, it only sounds to me like we're about 5 minutes into the movie, and he's been talking 5 minutes. So, of course, he's not going to tell me the entire story of the movie because that would be crazy, right? This can't be real. Why would he tell me this story? And I'm looking over at Michael Chinich, and he's not happy at all. In fact, he's getting more and more upset. And I'm thinking, of course, he probably has 1,000 things he'd like to talk to Hughes about that are really, really urgent to get ready to actually make the movie. And Hughes is giving the entire time to a guy who makes no difference. If he was going to hire me, I could just read the script later. Why is he performing the entire thing? So I could understand how somebody would get irritated. But he kept going. It was wonderful. It was funny. It was moving. I mean, you've seen the movie. It was better than that, the way that Hughes told the story. So we reached the end, roll credits, and then Hughes and we talk a little bit about it and what I thought. And as I went down the stairs and walked through the Paramount lot back to my car, I'm thinking, that's the best job interview I've ever had in my life. I've never had the sense that the person who I was interviewing with was trying to sell me. It was like he was saying, is this a good enough story? Is this a good enough movie for you to promote? It was so preposterous. The next day, I get a call from Michael Chinich, and he says, I'm sorry, we can't hire you. There's somebody else we're going with. I said, oh, that's too bad. I would really like to do it. And that was my introduction to Los Angeles. I'd come from New York City, where it was very, very important the culture was, I will tell you what I think and what I mean, and it's just going to be that. Whereas in Los Angeles, there are these subterranean things going on, hidden agendas, pieces of information that you weren't privy to, that you would never find out what they were. I didn't get the job, even though it was the best interview of my life. Welcome, Reed. You're in LA. I hope you've enjoyed this story. And if you want me to keep telling more stories, please like and comment, or even better, subscribe. Anyway, thanks for listening, and see you next time.